For this next unit, we're going to spend some time focusing on the area and the perimeter of the shapes that we've been talking about all year. Today we're going to start with the circumference of a circle. And we're also going to learn something new. We're going to learn about radians and how to convert between radians and degrees. Up until now, you've only focused on degrees. So perimeter, we all know the perimeter is the distance around a figure. If we add up all the sides, that tells us the perimeter, like a fence around a backyard. It is measured in linear or distance units, such as feet, inches, meters, centimeters. But because there aren't any sides on a circle, we have to give it a special name. So circumference is the term that means the distance around the circle. The equation for that is pi d, where d stands for the diameter, or 2 pi r, where r stands for the radius. If you remember that the radius, it takes 2 radii, right? The radius is 2 times the radius is the diameter. That's why you can go back and forth between those equations, and you just use whichever one is the most useful for you. So let's look at some examples. So if I have a circle O that has a radius of 5, because I was given the radius, I'm going to use my 2 pi r. So circumference is 2 times pi times the radius. So one of the things that we like to do when we're dealing with circles is we like to leave our answers exact, means in terms of pi. You might see those words in terms of pi, or exact. So exact, even though it doesn't feel like it, exact answers might be 10 pi, 3 pi, pi over 2. Those are exact answers. Rounded answers would be 3.5726 is approximately 3.6. And because even though it looks like 3.6 is exact, it's not, because we decided that the rest of the decimals weren't important. So we want to leave our answers in terms of pi. That would be our exact answer. So you would just do the math and you just would multiply everything except for the pi. So 2 times 5 is 10. So our exact answer would be 10 pi. And our approximate answer would be 31.4. That's our approximate answer. So the second one, we have AB. A radius is 20. So when our radius is 20, we can use pi d. So circumference is pi d. And again, you could always convert the diameter to the radius if you wanted to. So that would be 20 pi exactly, or 62.8 approximately. And then lastly, we have a circumference of 16 pi. I've given you the circumference, I'm asking for the radius. So set up the equation. That's the good thing about this unit, is it's completely set up to be formula driven. And so solve for r, so we divide by 2 pi. If I wanted to type this in on my calculator, you would need to use parentheses. But in this case, I don't need to. The pi's cancel out, and 16 over 2 is 8, so my radius is 8. If the radius is 8, then the diameter is 16, and that's in meters. I didn't do very good including my units in there. So the circumference of a bicycle wheel is 69.115. What is the diameter of the wheel, and then what is the radius? So again, we know that circumference is equal to, since I asked for diameter first, I'm going to use pi d. Doesn't matter, you can use either one. So 69.115 is equal to pi d. Always write the equation, plug in what you know, and then see what you need to do to solve the problem. So 69.115 divided by pi. Always use your pi key on your calculator, and you get 21.99999. So that would be that a diameter is approximately 22, which means that the radius is half of that, which is 11. So that radius would be 11, or the diameter would be 22 inches. So that means for every roll, what the circumference means is for every roll, if you put a sticker on the wheel, every time that wheel, that sticker hits the ground, you will have rolled 69.1 inches. Ed and Carol are jogging around a circular track in the park. The diameter of the track is 0.8 miles. Find to the nearest mile the number of miles they jogged if they made 2 complete trips around the track. So we want to go around the track, so that would be circumference. So circumference is equal to pi d since you were given the diameter. So pi times d. So 0.8 times pi is 2.51. And since they went around twice, I need to double that. So they would have gone around 5 miles. And it says to the nearest mile.